Hey everybody, Doug here from 2 Plus Tough, and a long day. It has been a long one. It's been a busy weekend if you guys haven't known, with all the releases and that kind of stuff. Earlier today I did a live stream with Jack from Rerolling Ones, and we were hanging out, chatting all about the new battle tomes. He has kind of a more rules kind of mindset, like, as far as like what stands out as looking cool and whatnot. And I didn't know any of that, so I was just kind of along for the ride for that one. But we did have a little bit of a build party last night where I started working on some of my Ossiarch Bonereaper models. Give me 1 second. For the first time this year, I turned on my heater next to me, that little like a strip against the wall, and I found out that it kind of ever so slightly just started to melt my cutting board. So I was like, oh crap, what else is on there? Okay, so we're good to go there. So anyway, this whole thing, I'm just going to be hanging out. Going to be building some Ossiarch Bonereapers and that kind of stuff. Answering any questions you guys want, as long as, within reason, just because I want to get some work done. But I just thought I would open this up to a time to do some hobby hang. Some people really love seeing the sprues and stuff like that, so I thought I'm going to have them out working on them anyway, so what I know. So we'll go to the downward cam here. Let's see, the now currently mislabeled painting cam. This here's the Mawtribes day has arrived. Yes, I love the Mawtribes stuff. We'll talk about that a little bit. I spent the day looking at the book, really kind of digesting it a bit more, like we were talking about, and needing a little bit more time. I think they're both good books. I don't think they're equal in terms of like competitiveness and all that kind of stuff, but I do think that they are both good. I think they both deliver on fun armies. So let me get my models together here and we'll get cracking. Last night during our build party, I was able to finish 2 Morghast Archi. The I don't remember his name. The named character that comes in the set, the the Feast of Bones set. This is the Mortek Hekatos, who is the unit like leader guy who can issue command abilities, and we can chat about all that kind of stuff. So, oh no, my cutting board's all getting all warped out of control here. Let me put some weight on the corners. Making all sorts of noise. I apologize, everyone. I gotta just put some weight on this. Like I said, my heater started to melt it. And that tends to not be good. Okay. Tell you what, you guys asked some questions, so I can answer them when I get back. I have to step away just for a hot second. I actually have something special for this. Okay, so sorry about that, everybody. I went out and got myself a new hobby knife this weekend because as I was working with the one I had last night, I was like, this is hurting my hands. It feels terrible. It's the cheapest thing, and I build way too many models to have the crummiest thing that hurts my hands. Went to Hobby Lobby, got this thing, has a fancy comfort grip to it. I apologize for not getting it set up before stream, but I do see some questions here. What paint scheme do you like for the Bonereapers? The paint scheme that I felt like that made me like the army, frankly, was the Perfectus Elite, the red scheme, where the lore behind them is that their bones are like fossilized and they're super dirty, and so The bones are like this blackened earth kind of look, and the armor is a red. I just think it pops. It looks so good. Boom. Fresh hobby tools. There's nothing like it. Okay. Oh yeah, I forgot that was there because of my warping board. That's a real bummer. I think I just ruined this board. That's alright. It'll be good for right now. How bad is it? It's not the worst. It'll hang in there. I was not even thinking when I turned the heat on. Okay, let's see. You're playing the Bonereapers now, or just flipping them? I want to play them for a little bit. Eventually, I'm not sure. I'll see how the playstyle goes. You know, if you listen to anyone on the internet, apparently they're so OP and broken, even though no one has them in their hands yet. I have a little bit of frustration today with some of their internet personalities just kind of spouting stuff they aren't talking about. Okay, and here's my instructions. So, alright, so I'm all settled in. Sorry about this taking me so long. I wish I had done all this before I got started. Let's see. So yeah, I'm gonna build them and paint them at least, if nothing else, to help out guys at rerolling ones. But beyond that, I'm not sure how far I'll go with them. Honestly, I kind of... So I built this one skeleton guy to see if I like the new basic unit. Because that's always the thing, right? You're building basic units, you gotta get used to it. If you don't like that, you won't like anything else. And this, you know, he's like 4 pieces. The entire torso and leg assembly is 1, so it's like it's 2 pieces. It snaps together to make 1. And then arm, shield, head. So it's 5 pieces, but it's still very simple and straightforward. I think way easier because the parts are a little bit chunkier to work with than the old skeleton kit. Elton Music, so glad I finally caught a live stream. I'm working on Hedonites now. What's your opinion on the new Ossiarch sword dudes? They remind me of Tyranid warriors. So first of all, thank you so much for your donation. That means the world to me. It's humbling every time. As far as the sword guy, I'm not actually going to build the sword guys because I really like the alternate version of them where I think they only have 2 arms, but like one has a shield, one has a pike, and they act as guardians for the heroes, which is something that I think like all the heroes we mentioned before today are kind of like Nighthaunt level in terms of strength, or I mean resiliency, lots of like 4 and 5 ups, 7-ish wounds, that kind of thing. And so I was like, you know, having someone who can tank wounds for them, that's pretty cool. So here's my second thing of Morghast. And here's more of the basic dudes. And here's my other spruce. So what we did, me and the Rolling Ones crew, Brent really wants to do ogres. And so we made the deal. We met together last night. Jack took my ogre half of Feast of Bones. I took their Bonereapers half. And so we're all just going to like build and paint armies so that they can do battle reports. So that is the way things are going right now. The only sad thing is the build instructions don't come with instructions to build the alternate sculpts for anything. And that is kind of annoying. So I'm going to have to like just figure it out when it comes to building the, based on pictures I can find online, the alternate sculpts for the Stalkers, the 4-arm guys, Tyranid warriors. And then the Morghast, I wanted them to be Archai anyway because they have a better save, so it's like, I don't really care. So, let's get to building basic dudes. Let's do that. So, I already got the page pulled up because that's what I built last. Let's see. Buddy plays Inch, but can rarely get a spell off because it's pretty easy to bring lots of... Oh, denies. Yeah. It, We can chat about the rules and that kind of stuff. So I'm gonna break this up, my thoughts on it, as pros and cons. Pros being just things that I like, as just as a consumer, as a gamer, that kind of stuff. Not for an eye for competition. I don't know how all that stuff shakes out at the highest level. Actually, we're just gonna build all. So the nice thing about this, you can build all the torsos and then decide which one's which afterwards. All the arms work and all the heads work for everything. So we're just gonna do that. Let's see, 6 and 7. Let's get started here. So basically, my high-level thoughts, things that I like, is certainly we were talking about it where they have their Relentless discipline rule, and they use that instead of command points, but they use them kind of the same way. One of the things I like about it is that everything that they can use with those points is inside this book. And what that means for me is, like, when the new JHB came out, we got a whole new swath of command abilities, and they're like, reroll save rolls of 1, and like all those kinds of ones. And I don't remember any of them because I don't think about them. I think about the stuff on my war scroll and what's open to my faction. So having it say, like, hey, don't worry about anything that's in the GHP, don't worry about anything anywhere, battle plan, otherwise, all the things you can use those things for are in this book. Of course, obviously, you don't lose anything with Inspiring Presence, but I do think you lose something when it comes to reroll charge rolls or, auto 6 when you go fast. Kenzie finished my first Liberator Primes today. Oh, sweet! That's awesome. Congrats. It's good to put a dent in those as they go. Totally, because there's so many of them. All of the Liberator Primes ever. So, and there's pros and cons to that. Yes, some of their command abilities are really, really good. I don't think the command abilities are all that amazing. I think the way that they spread across the army is. Let's see, what else? What else can we chat about with those things? As far as spells go, there's a lot of spells. I think it's easy to look at stuff in a vacuum, and I noticed some folks are already doing this where they say, okay, well, all you have to do is just take this spell, and you can buff a single unit into oblivion. It's like, well, their spells don't go off the easiest, and the points cost for all those heroes going into an expensive unit, because everything here is very, very expensive. It's kind of crazy, and so I just don't think that's a really great thing. On the no allies thing, is it straight up you can? Oh, no, it just says allies none. And if you have, I think it's if you have Arcane, let me get this section down and I'll double check. There is a caveat in the section that talks about having Nagash and Archon in your army, where it says you can't have mercenaries, but I don't know if that's you literally can only have mercenaries if Nagash Archon is there, or that means no mercenaries period. Also, you can take these other two dudes. So I'll have to double check the wording on that before I give a firm answer, but yeah, so and that's the thing where I think before anyone has their knee-jerk reactions, I think the premise of the book is we made an army where we focused really hard on internal balancing, and that means excluding outside resources. Like, command points don't work. No other command abilities can work outside of this book. No allies. No, you know what I mean? You can take them as Grand Alliance death, sure. I don't think they're good at that point, because then they can't use them. So many of these things, I don't know. So there's that. People popping up in the chat. Oh my gosh, I don't think I've ever had 42 people in a hobby hangout. Everyone's like, oh my god, how's that Bonereapers? 4, 11 and 12. Yeah, so that's kind of my thoughts. If anyone, what we're doing, I'm just chatting about the army and what interests me about it as I go ahead and build these guys. If you have any questions about the models that come in Feast of Bones, like the sprues and that kind of stuff, or about the rules, go ahead and ask. When I get to a good stopping point, I'll pause and we can go check out the battle tome. So, question, are the Mortek Guard 32 or 28? They are actually 25. 25. My eyes did not deceive me. When I was at Nova, when they unveiled these guys, I was super excited. I was like, oh my god, an elite death army. It's all I ever wanted. Because I had a death army when I first started AOS, and I got really tired of moving so many zombies. I picked zombies over skeletons because I think it's more fun for you and your opponent, and I stand by that. And all this stuff. And then when I saw in the display case they were on 25 mil bases, I was like, oh no, my heart broke a little bit. I was like, I don't want to do huge hordes of infantry. And the truth is, I'm looking at the points for all this stuff. I still don't think I will. I think a few units of 20 dudes, I think, personally, is where the sweet spot's going to be. It can go up to 40, which surprised me, but I just do not see an incentive for going that high. I mean, obviously you have like your full-size unit discount that you can get, but like in terms of like actual gameplay, the fact that more units means more of the little lieutenant guys who can do command abilities, and how many points they're 130 per, for every 10. I don't know. I just don't see the raw value in terms of output and board presence that going to 40 makes them. Daniel, I agree. I was hoping for 32s as well. And honestly, they have the stat line to warrant a 32 mil base. Like, straight up. Because they're one wound Ard boys. You know what I mean? I'm looking at this, I'm like, when they look on the base, they don't look bad on this base. I would like them to be on a 32. I get that they're kind of in this weird space. I do think they would look best on a 28, right in that middle range, but I don't want people to complain or have a freak out that, oh my god, they're getting rid of this size base. Which is, of course, what people do, because internet people stoke fear. Let's see, 38, 39, we're here. Question. Their abilities only work within their own allegiance. Yes, everything's keyworded for the most part that I can think of. A lot of their spells, they have some spells that if you were to take like a single wizard in Grand Alliance Death, that might be helpful. Here and there, but then you wouldn't get access to the spell lore because you're not. Yeah, I don't know. I can't, unless you're trying to slow grow into this army or out of it, right? You have this army from the set and you're trying to grow something else. I don't see a lot of reason to ever do Grand Alliance Death with these guys. I really don't. Yeah, that's the only I can think of. There's not a lot of stuff that, like, if you don't take specifically Ossiarch Bonereapers, that you get a lot of benefit from. So 38, 39. 39. Where's 38? Oh, right here, extra time. Okay. 20 million would be perfect for my Drakari Cabalites. I agree. Actually, I had some Cabalites back in the day. I had to sell them off because I lost my job, unfortunately. That was like 2 years ago now. And I was thinking the exact same thing. You're like, man, if this was just the slightest fraction bigger, I would be so much more happy. I remember when they made the switch with Space Marines going from 25s to 32s, and people were in an uproar about rebasing and tournament play and all that kind of stuff. And then I was getting caught up in that same kind of, like, pitchforks and burn GW. And then I saw a Space Marine on a 32 mil, and I was just like, that looks so much better. Just without question. I was like, much, much better. The fact that they're on a different size base than little tiny human guardsmen, I was like, that works. I like it. I'm on board. That's really bonus point here. I didn't want another horde army. Guess I'll just use them for kit bashes. Took from Mars. I do. That's the thing. So, I'm sorry. I didn't finish my story I started earlier. So I was disappointed to see them on 25s, But with the way that the faction is structured in terms of the number of heroes you're going to want to take and how expensive all of the infantry is. So your basic 10-man squad is 130 for an okay amount of punch. They're not great. You know, I mean, they're up there with how much? Someone who's a Deepkin player, tell me, how many points is a 10-man block of Namarti Thralls? They have a not terribly dissimilar stat line in terms of like hit to wound, that kind of stuff. They're fine, you know, but anything bigger than your basic dude gets to be 200 points, right? Yeah, that's the next thing up. And I think that's great because that's where the hitting power is. So I think that there are smaller units, but I don't think that's the strength of the army. Like, I don't think a 40-man block of these dudes is going to be, you know, the shiz, right? I just don't think it's going to happen. They're too pricey at that point, even with the maximum size discount thing. Not having to label each dwarf so their arms fit together perfectly. Phoenix Guard are 160, yeah. Well, they're no Phoenix Guard. Like, toe-to-toe, a Phoenix Guard would take these guys to the curb. In terms of just, like, killing power and ability to stick around on an objective. So I put up a playlist that's supposed to be, like, dark music, but not just, like, weird sound effects. So let's skip that one. Man, with 3 20-man blocks is still more than I wanted. Yeah, I mean, I'm thinking I want to keep my armies around 50 to 60 models, and that includes everything. So I was thinking 2 20-man blocks and then some of the bigger units, because those are only like 3 dudes each. That'll fill up points fast, and then you need heroes to support all those and get regular Relentless discipline points. I'm just going to call those discipline points because that name is way too long. I do think the naming department at GW needs a second look. Let's see. Would you? I'll be glad to hopefully get to paint some of the set. Yeah. I think it's going to be a cool set. I'm hoping people get a chance to paint it. I don't know. It sounds like they sold out online within like an hour or two, which is just absurd. I don't know anything about that side of it. They don't tell me nothing. Kenzie, I answered that. Arcade Fox, would you say this army is good for a beginner? My friend wants to get into the game with Bonereapers. I will say if you know how to play the game, right, and your buddy has someone who can kind of help them with like how Age of Sigmar as a whole works, there are some really good things about this army for a beginner. Starting off, no battle shock. That's awesome. It can be built certainly as a lower model count army because stuff, bones would be expensive. What else? The fact that, again, like for me, you're not looking around for different, command abilities in the GHB and that kind of stuff. Everything, it's a complete self-contained faction, right? Like every ability they can use is in this book, for the most part. And there you can get into some more abstract stuff, like if your buddy's just starting, you're not going to worry about Realmscape artifacts and that kind of thing. That's what I mean. But in terms of like how the army functions, it's all here. So that's a good thing. The bad thing is, he's playing a different game than everyone else because they don't get command points, that kind of stuff. Overhaul battle shock is a joke now. Yeah, I won't argue with that. I want it to be better. The thing is people are like, oh, they're immune to battle shock, but the truth is, it's like, I think battle shock's just been irrelevant a lot, and so I'm not bummed because there's an army that's immune to it. I'm bummed because that's not really a buff. Because nobody else cares. My brutes care, but like, that's it. Hard boys certainly don't. That's what I like most in Iron Jaws. Let's see. Lenora, I haven't seen you in the chat in a while, Lenora. Just call them Bonecast Eternals. Yeah. Yeah, and I haven't even dug into the lore at all. I have my videos for this week were already done in anticipation of this video, or this book coming to me. So the videos are on Cities of Sigmar. But the bits that I have read, it's very clearly like his Stormcast equivalent. At least that was the intention, so I like it. Let's see. I'm fully expecting Kurnothi, if they hopefully become a full army, called something like Kurnothi Wildstalkers. Adjective, non-verb convention. Yeah. Exactly. Name them something that... Yeah, exactly, yeah. Adjective, non... Yep. Let's see. Calcium Collectors. Love it. I don't think I've ever had a guy run, but then again, 10 dwarf squads with 9 bravery. Yeah. You know, I just think bravery's in a weird place, irrelevant of Army's abilities to ignore it or not. So, yep. But I'm not complaining. But, well, yeah. So my point being, like, all the knee-jerk reactions to, like, what, they're immune to a whole phase of the game. It's like a phase that generally people weren't using. The only times that I think that Battleshock matters is the ones where... Or I feel like they matter. I should clarify. I feel like they matter is... I think the orcs used to have... Maybe I'm wrong. But there was someone in the ability that's like, you know, if your opponent has a model run away, more run away on top of that. I think that's kind of a cool thing. But again, you know, I don't think a lot of folks are running away. So I do think that's one phase of the game that needs some love. I remember when AOS first dropped. You know, we even fast forward to when it first got points and people started coming back and playing more. Battleshock used to be brutal because there was a lot less save after the saves. There was a lot less. I feel like I feel like more stuff just died quickly in the beginning, and maybe that's just my perception. But I just remember Battleshock being like, "What do you mean they just go away?" Part of it's because of the way bravery used to work in the old system. Real shame the Feast of Bones got sold out immediately. Hoping to get your hands on that new tyrant. Yeah, man. One thing that if I could get GW to do anything, it would be like give us a pretty set, like make a self-imposed deadline on when they have to release the standalone kit for any unique heroes that come in those things. That's the one practice that I'm like, I don't like that. I get that you want them to come out with the set and be unique for a time. Totally on board, you know. But communicating to their customers like, hey, this will be out like in 3 to 6 months or something like that. Like that's, please do that thing. Going to make sure I didn't miss any shoulder pads or sprue bits on the shoulders. Tell you what, man, this new hobby knife, this thing is highly dangerous. You know what? We're gonna pass on this playlist because they are sucking it up. I wanted like creepy, like dark sounding, like beats, and it's just random sounds. Like you're supposed to play at a haunted house. Let's see. There we go. Some little pulse. Hey, I have that hobby knife. Yeah. I treated myself today. Let's see. Yeah, I guess the dudes from Carrion Empire are still not available. Yep. Did you do another one stuff? Just don't do stuff with it. Yeah, I don't know. Bjorn says, hey Doug, it's 10 a.m. over here. Whoa! That's awesome. It is a healthy 7 o'clock at night for me. So I have, what, 20 guys total? I'm going to build them with swords, because that's the build that I like. Let me double check here. 40k has been somewhat decent on releasing unique heroes. They've been killing it with 40k in the hero department, like you know, for all their new sculpts. The fact that so many of the what are they called? The founding chapters got like a unique hero, just something. Yeah. It's noon here. Lenora, where are you? Are you in like Australia or something? Okay, Mortek Guard. Let me make sure I got the Zombie Lizard. I don't think so, because they also have the 2 Eldar heroes that came out. They put out, I mean, in the last, what, I don't know how long, they had the Necron Special Sorcerer guy. They've been doing good. Okay, so Mortek Guard. Android weapons. Okay, so the blade and the spear both get the exploding 6s thing. So what's the difference? So if you take the spear, you give up rend for an additional inch of range. I'm not gonna lie, I want the rend. I've gotten so friggin' spoiled when it comes to playing with my Ard boys, where your basic dude has rend, and it's glorious. Oh, what's that do? There's a banner bearer, but I didn't see a banner bearer ability. Or is he just for aesthetics? Oh no, yeah. Add 1 to run and charge rolls for a unit that includes. Okay, cool. Yeah, we'll make him. Banner Bro. Can agree that's a lot of named dudes in Space Marines. That sometimes is Black Legion. Yeah. Master of Possessions isn't out separately. That's what it was. Lenora, Australia. Yes. I had Doom and Darkness on for while you were forging right before I went for Nova, and it was super funny because like he told me the time zone difference, and for some reason the math did not sink in, and I was totally wrong. And so he was like, no, just, 12 hours plus 4. And that's how I built it in my head, of just like 12 hours plus 4, 12 hours. So yeah. I'm a little slow on the uptake sometimes. It's all good. Tell you what though, man. This set is a bits paradise. If you want to make some sick looking Necrons with the flayed virus, there's some cool stuff here. Now I gotta choose the top of my banner, which I'm gonna go with I'm gonna go with this guy. Shield 44. Here we go. I didn't know Slimar Bow was resin. Interesting. Okay. Let's grab our handy dandy knife here. Yeah, we'll just start trimming off some of this. It's the arbitrary way that they seem to be removing metal and or resin kits, I don't understand it, but I'm sure there's some greater business plan at play that I do not understand. Where it's like, you know what we need? We need to introduce a new Skaven hero with a rocket launcher. And all the people who are looking at their super ugly metal, you know, Gatling gun weapon crew are just like, but why? You could have given us a cool gun. Why you gotta make a hero with a cool gun? Glad Mortec roll kit back the mono pose a good bit. Yeah, you can. So the only thing that is somewhat monopose is like the actual, like this part. This is the torso and leg situation, but honestly the hands, you can do quite a bit even with this. It just each torso has a set of legs that lock into it, but there's a good, I think, mix of just kind of like angles the legs are at and that kind of stuff. So I don't really consider that to be a bad deal. Yeah, but from this point you can do quite a bit because the right arm where the weapon goes is all a ball joint, so you can put pretty much anything in there. Like you can modify all the arms to have whatever weapon you want in there. And then the right arm is a good shield arm, so good call. Cars need more plastic regiment kits. I don't know much about them. The actual, like the you know, the very like distinct different guard kits, yeah. I remember the day when they discontinued those. People were gobbling them up like mad. So let me get this guy built and we can happily bust out the battle tome and we can answer some questions if anyone has any. Like a week before I was considering Vestroyans. Well, I mean, I'm glad it happened before when you weren't. I think I'll buy a kit, and then everything goes to crap, and you're like, oh god, give me all the kits. I can't afford this right now. Building my Nagash tonight. Sweet. I have built that model once and never want to again. I was working on a greenskin force for AOS. Aww. Let's see. He's one where we gotta make sure the spear can fit. Yeah, I do wish they had gone to a 28 mil or something. I'm not gonna lie, that's kind of a bummer. Like the base of the spear just comes out just a little too far for their pose, where his leg comes back a little bit. That's okay. Not the end of the world. It's really just for this one very specific model, because nobody else, like the shields and stuff, don't come out that far. Old Witch Doctor, yes, they are on 25s. Yes, and I was the same way. When I hear Elite Death Army, I think, oh, clearly that's going to be on 32s minimum. Thought they were on 28. No. Sorry to break everyone's heart. No, but I have a guy down here who is holding like a sword, And he looks great on a 25. He looks just fine. It's this guy who has the banner, because the banner comes out a little bit. That's the only one with the problem. But even then, you know, I'm looking at him now, and as long as you put his head at an angle where it looks like he's creeping over the shield to look where the standard's facing, he looks pretty rad. He is a little top heavy though, so he will need some weight at the bottom. Sisters are all in 32s, even the Repentia. John Penn, GW only does 25, 32, and 40. That is not true anymore. Warcry has several models that are on 28s, which is an interesting change that kind of crept in under the radar. So they do have 28mm bases. Their reasoning, oh, I shouldn't say that. It's not their reasoning. It's the thing my local store owner or store manager said. He's like, you know, maybe they have the 28 mils because there's just some units they didn't want getting like a 2 rank bonus thing. I was like, well, that's fine, but you know, as long as they don't ask people to rebase, that's fine. Like, I wouldn't be hurt if this unit came out on 28s. That'd be fine. As long as it came out on 28s and they didn't, like, tell you to switch from 25s. Cool, okay. So that is it for that. Now it's just a bunch of shields and swords. Now there is a weapon option that I actually find very annoying. Let me show it off here. And I'm actually probably going to skip it. And someone, if they want to buy it for bits, they can do that from me. So, 1 in every 10 models can replace their unit's weapon option with a Soul Cleaver Great Blade. And the Great Blade is, the only thing different about it is that it wounds on it has +1 to wound. I was like, I'm the economy of my time. I'm gonna skip that weapon because I would much rather just roll the dice together. Like, that's literally the only thing. 1 in every 10 models can get a +1 to wound. You're just like, why? So, I guess the idea is if you wanted to make that guy your Mortek Hekatos, all of a sudden your lieutenant guy could be a little bit better in combat, but I just don't care. And I'm sure everyone can understand. Let's see. Have a different color dye? Yeah, I guess you could. I mean, there's ways around my laziness, but I do think that my laziness is triumphant. Let's see. Point being, I don't know. I find it to be one more inconvenience. 2, 4, 6, 8. Here we go. Lore Master of Sotek, hey man, what you doing? Oh, hey! I actually, when I was just sitting down, I plugged my phone in because it was dead, and it just popped up and I saw your response. Me and the Lore Master at some point will be doing some hobby hangout, and I'm very excited about it. So, here we are. Meet again for the first time. Again. Let's see. The art on it looks great. Oh, I'm talking about Sisters? Yeah. Very, very excited for these Sisters release. I have no stake in that army, and I have no interest in playing it, but I like when other people get excited. You know what I mean? I like when other gamers get excited about what they're passionate about, and I really hate it when... Which is why, I should say, kind of capping off that thought, which is why I really do despise it when folks, people with influence in the community just outright say, this is garbage. And I just like, that's just... No, man, that makes somebody happy. Don't be saying it's garbage. 2, 3, 4, 5... Wonder what else GW will hype for 2 years after Sisters. 6. It depends. What has everyone else been whining for? Squats. Did they ever follow up a post about the community survey this year? Nope, I haven't seen anything. Chaos Dwarves. Chaos Dwarves would be legit. I would actually be super down for that. Three, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so I got one extra shield. So which shield looks like the biggest dud? That guy. Okay. Squats, aka Space Dwarves. First time made it to a live show. Urian, hello, hello. We're just hanging out. Please GW squats for Chaos Dwarves. Full Trader Guard would be really cool. They've already proven they have the designs for it because those guys from Blackstone Fortress are beautiful. Old Witch Doctor, I feel like they just need an upgrade sprue. And that's one way to do it. I just think that the work that they did on those guardsmen from Black Legion just makes me think that there's so much potential there model-wise that I think they could really go nuts for. Urian, hey, I have good news. I won a gold in Armies on Parade today. Congratulations, dude. That's awesome. That is legit. I have yet to actually partake in a Armies on Parade, not because I don't like it or anything like that. It's just because I keep forgetting about it every single year. And I'm like, when is that? It's in 2 weeks. Oh. 2, 4, 6, 7, and 8. Thanks, it was my first. Oh man, sweeping in for the first time and getting the gold. That's legit. Good for you, dude. What did you bring to it? If you don't mind me asking. Everyone in the chat can keep talking about Trader Guard. I don't know anything about 40k releases, so. Let's see. Did my first last year and got silver. Congrats, congrats. And let me ask you this, for those you two guys who just said you went and did well, did you have display boards? Because I asked my good friend Shu over at Reeling Ones that oh, should I take whatever maggot can I have painted? Should I just bring it in? Why not? And he said, well, if you're looking to like win anything, you probably wouldn't until you have a display board. So I ended up not doing that. Urian, you did. Yeah. Right on. Got a dupe of Custodes Mechanicus. Nice. Made one. Think if I had worked a bit more overall design, would have gotten gold. Gotcha. I remember when I was a kid, my mom and I were watching the Olympics, and she told me, she's like, you know what you never want to get, Doug? You never want to get silver. And I was like, what are you talking about? Like, this is like amazing. People who win the Olympics, that kind of stuff. And she's like, because if you win bronze, right, third place, you're just glad to be there on the podium, right? You're like, oh yeah, I made it. And if you win gold, obviously you won everything and you're the best in the world. But if you're silver, you're like, man, if I had just gone a little bit further. And I was like, that's the worst attitude. So as you could probably guess, I did not win anything as a child because my mother made me feel like there's no point in trying. I ain't gonna get gold. She was not the nurturing type, we'll say. So true. I felt that for a bit. Yeah, that's the thing. Is like I'm like, no, that is inaccurate to say that you can't be proud of an accomplishment because you didn't come in first or third. I think that's so weirdly specific. McMahon, did you finally get a box on time? I did, yes. It came in late on... Oh my gosh, I have no concept of time. Late yesterday. And so, drove down to Jack's, and we had ourselves a little build party where I got these Morghast and some of the hero dudes done. But yeah. Now the thing is, I do have the videos already made for Cities of Sigmar this week. Well, I have the notes. Still have to record them, but that won't take very long. And so this week I'll be hard at work putting together notes. I think I'm going to start with... I don't know what I'm going to start with. Honestly, y'all, I'm all over the place with lore right now. Because, like, the Cities of Sigmar was important because it's new. It's like, but they did add cool things to the War Clans book that I wanted to talk about. I still have more to talk about there. And then they dropped these, like, right on the heels, and I'm like, I am so overloaded right now. So I got a lot. I got big stuff going on. If you watch American Dad, you'll get that. But so I need what, 8 heads? I'm not a huge fan of the heads that have a lot of, like, is it filigree, whatever it is, like with the like, little frills coming off the sides. One, 2, 3, 4, 5. Got one ordered on eBay. Okay, interesting. I'll be honest, they have never sent me... Well, they sent me like a box set before, because they sent me Blackstone Fortress, and I straight up asked them, like, please don't send 40k stuff because I don't know what to do with it. I don't know how to do any of this stuff. I was in the middle of moving. You know, it was like it was just a bad time, and so they did that. But that was, you know, that and the orc box they sent me. But like Carrion Empire, I didn't get. I don't know. I assume they sent it to me just to show, like, you know, for me to be able to do this exactly, like build some of the models, tell people that Bonereapers aren't bad. Take a look at the book. Maybe tell people it's not super broken. So internet personalities who don't have the book can tell people it is, kind of thing. That was a subtle jab. We got... This seems like a good stream to have on while I put together my spooky ghosts. Oh yeah, that's the whole point. I don't really do anything during my live streams. I tend to just hang out and chat with people. And so, for example, there are, 68 people watching. Hey, everybody. But only like 8 or so of them are commenting. It's because everyone's hopefully building models and chilling out. Living, laughing, and loving. As I say. Let's see. It only gets awkward when I have to like actually like stop talking to breathe. Necrolepsy. I love that name. Subtle jab. You know you're super subtle when you say you're being subtle. That's how you know that you've reached peak subtlety. Let's see. They're cool as allies, but like, what do they have on their own other than aesthetics? Trader Guard. Zombie. You talking about Trader Guard stuff? I was like, these guys are terrible. I don't know. They could be allies with anyone. Let's see. Mogwai Man struggling to build some big stabbas. I hated building my big stabbas. Currently struggling with all my projects. Hobby roadblocked on all of them. Oh, I'm sorry, man. James Byrne tried to be so silent. No, well, no. This is why I do it, because there are 70 people who are chilling and building stuff. That's the whole point, man. Don't be apologizing. No one's obligated to chat. Actually, so I dropped this guy and it bent the sword. I can do a different position because his arm wasn't locked in quite yet, but I think he looks way cooler now. I love when that happens. So my plan to get the look of the, oh man, I gotta memorize these names. Perfectus Elite is the name of the paint scheme that I want to go for. Is I'm going to do prime them black and do a dry brush buildup of browns and grays to get that dark fossilized looking bone that they have in the pictures. If you go look at the community article for the subfactions, there are pictures there, and I can pull it up a little bit if need be. But I was gonna say, yeah. So I'm gonna do the black primer, dry brush with grays and browns, get that fossilized look, and then so in the instructions in their thing, they had you do the kind of like a, what is it, the Crimson Slaughter contrast paint on the shields, and then do like highlights with Wild Rider Red. I'm going to skip that, and I'm going to do is lead belcher on all the armor plating, and then do the red contrast over that. If you haven't seen that, I did that for my Iron Golems. Love it. It's this nice metal cherry red. Same tone of red. Flesh Tears. Thank you so much, Omniphage. Flesh Tears, and yeah, nice metallic red. I think looks sweet. Let's see. Okay, I got some questions. If you have a question for me, you can either at me, like at 2plusstuff, or type question in caps so I can see them. So let's see. Thoughts on Ogre Mawtribes and Bonereapers? I love them both. The Mawtribes is certainly not as in your face, like this is an amazing, powerful book. It, to me though, looks like a very fun book. I would be playing it if Brent from Rerolling Ones wasn't planning to. And I mean that where, like, you know, it's an army of few models I think he can very reasonably get painted to a great standard. He's an awesome painter. I was like, you know what, dude, you take that. That's why he has my half, the ogre half of this set. Because I don't think they're like super great, like in terms of model diversity. I mean, it's basically the old ogre stuff, but I like them. The only thing we're reviewing today that I think that book misses is I do think they should have made some battalions that include both what used to be the ogres on foot along with the Beastclaw Raider stuff. I think that was kind of a miss, because it's like, it's not like they're two armies in one book. They're one army again, which is awesome, but at the same time it's like, go the extra step, I think, is how I would word that. So I think that's a great book. I think it's going to be a mid to high tier. I think there's a lot of game to be played with the spells and the prayers buffing stuff. Yeah, that's what I thought. As far as these guys go, I have no idea. I am someone who I like to wait and see how things pan out on the table. There's a lot of knee-jerk reactions, people saying stuff's broken, you know, based on like Guerrilla Miniature Games is reading them the codex, Battletome. I mean, like, that's nothing wrong with that at all. It's just like, but we haven't seen it in action, right? And I think that's going to be the big determiner of like this thing's power level, where, you know, we can talk about how many Relentless discipline points you get, but there's so many abilities you lose access to, and I don't know. It just has to be played. What I can say though is that because the book is so self-contained in its design, it really would not take much to tweak it to make it more reasonable if something was wrong. You know, where you get into Slanesh where it's like, Depravity points is an issue. Sometimes the points of the unit is an issue. With here, it's just like they've set it up to where, honestly, just if you just adjust points, you make players make hard decisions between consistency of relentless discipline, rules, and models on the table, and playing the objectives can be difficult if you go hero heavy and you want to have your units operating at crazy efficiency. So, next question I see here is Timothy. Question: with the new point cost for Iron Jaws, what all would you bring to a doubles tournament? That depends very heavily on what your partner in crime is bringing. You want something that complements them. So, for example, if they're bringing stuff that's like ranged focused, I would bring Ardboys and War Chanters for days, and that's not a bad way to go, no matter what they bring. Honestly, I love Ardboys and War Chanters together. I'm not, I must say, qualified to say that they're the best thing in the game, best thing in that game, in that book, like that they are objectively the best unit. But I just feel like, I don't know, man, they wrecked some Nurgle stuff in that battle report I did with our rerolling ones, and I loved it, every second of it. They got teeth back, the Ardboys. Question: not doing them as the Splody Bone Daddies? I refuse to call them Bone Daddies. No, I'm not going to do that, because honestly, I don't want to paint that scheme. If I'm super honest with you, that sounds miserable. Let's see. 2+. My partner is bringing Nurgle. Okay. Well, if he's bringing demons, you can probably hop on objectives with those. Yeah, I don't know. It very much depends on the list and what models you have access to. I honestly, Ardboys and War Chanter are good in every list. Yeah, I don't know. I'm probably not the authority on that one. I only did one doubles event so far. I had a blast, but let's see. Disco file. Whoa, oh, sorry, I missed a bunch of questions. Let me back up and make sure I didn't miss too much. I'm just going to start here at Disco Files question. If I didn't, go ahead and ask it again. I apologize. Question: what happened to your Maggotkin? Have you put them aside for now? Yep, they're on my big to-do list. I promised myself not to buy any more models until I finished what I already had, and I am living up to the letter of that law by the fact that I was given these. I was sent these by GW. I didn't pay for anything. I don't know what you're talking about. So, yes, they are tucked away for a rainy day whenever I want to get around to doing them some more. What I will say is, honestly, like, that's kind of like, it's an art project, Army. I'll say that. The point of it, and I said this in the beginning of that video series where I'm talking about it, where it's like the point was to push myself as a hobbyist. It's not to play Maggotkin necessarily. Because right now, like, the armies that I loved playing the Iron Jaws, and these guys look incredibly interesting. And so I'm very excited to dive into them. So yeah. Nurgle is whenever I need a painting break from bone color and blue with Iron Jaws, because mine are the Gore Choppas. Or the Choppas. Yeah, what happened to your Maggotkin? What a turd, Jack. Let's see. Question: I had a brutal match against Iron Jaws player at 1,000 points. Just flattened my Night Haunts with 1 unit at a time with ease. Any advice on how to bring the big jerk down? Well, I'm going to let our braggart of a ITC champion, Jack Ballard, tell you. Jack, how do you bring down 1,000 points of Iron Jaws? Especially if you're Night Haunt. And you had a Maw-crusher. Okay, the Maw-crusher is rough, man, at 1,000 points. So with my question pre-answered, what subfaction of Bonereapers are you playing? I am doing the Prefectus Elite, which is the guys that get +1 universal save. A little more heavily armored. Be more spooky. I don't know enough about Nighthaunt, Lore Master. I'm sorry, I don't. I don't know what they... Like, I know they have Ethereal. That's kind of their big jam. But I'm not sure. You run. Okay, got 2 questions here. Luke, when do you think GW will end up expanding more on Olgu and Hish Elves? No idea. And there's no ETA, and it's a kind of a bummer, to be honest with you. Omniface question: Bonereapers available to Legions of Nagash at all, other than the Deathlord stuff? Unless the FAQ changes things, no. Nagash has a way to gain the Ossiarch Bonereapers keyword in this faction, so he can be a part of the army. But nothing so far says that they can be in a Legions of Nagash army, unless that is added later, which I don't think they will. It seems, unless you're doing Grand Alliance Death, in which case they lose an immense amount of abilities. It seems like they wanted this battle tome more than any other to be a self-contained thing, which has pros and cons. I think the pro is that it's probably a little bit easier to balance or tweak. But yeah. Let me grab the bases for these guys right quick. Side note, we should all can we all berate Jack for not giving me the bases for his half of the Ossiarch Bonereapers? I got the Morghast bases, but nothing else. Boo that man! Okay, let's see how many we got here. I don't know what you're talking about. When I took your half of the Bonereaper side, I didn't snag the bases for him, I don't think. Ooh, Kenzie's dropping puns. That's basest of you. Omniphage, you're my favorite right now. Just boo Jack generally and fill in the blanks later. Yes. Square ones. Yes, obviously I wanted the square bases for my new, not even officially released army. Hot take, everybody. Ossiarch Bonereapers is reintroducing square bases. Notably, I killed all the other orcs on the table, but he just had that big dumb... The Maw-crusher is mean, man. I'm not going to lie. You people are in a cult. I love it. Square base regiment allegiance ability would be bonkers. I love it. Wonder if the black coach can take him down. Yeah, the hard thing is when you go after the mega boss on Maw-crusher, you can't. He's not like, you know, with most big guys, you're like, oh, I'll just chaff him until, you know, he gets beat down. But the problem is, the more you chaff him, the better he gets, because every time you kill something, he gets better and better and better, and so it gets really, really nasty. So you don't want to do that. That's probably the best advice I can give you, if I'm honest. He's honestly just a tough nut to crack. There's just no two words about it. Uncle Adam says to do the bases first. We aren't on. We're not in Uncle Adam's cult. We're in mine. No. I know, but I like doing it this way. I've always done it this way. And if Vince Ventrella guest starring couldn't convince me to do it otherwise, I'm not going to do it otherwise. Fear the Petrifexes are going to be the new Slanesh. Models have models have 2 rerollable saves and not being able to brave out the table. The models that can get a 2-up save are the Guardian models that look out for heroes. They're in units of 3. I don't see it. I think that's a knee-jerk reaction. That's, like anything else, it's an opinion. I'm one of those people who I want to see it before I worry about it. Let's see. The guard can shield wall as well. They can, yeah, and that goes to a 3-up save on the basic dude. Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying they're not good, but working on like building a list that has more rend and that kind of stuff, like I think those are workarounds. Like I think that's something the meta can adjust to. And there's no summoning, I don't know. Let's see. The bases should be done separately. I disagree with both. Ah, Vince is on. Hey Vince, how you doing, man? Didn't realize I was entertaining celebrities. Let's see. What's everyone working on? Yeah, what is everyone? Okay, let me get my sprues that I have finished out of here. That's okay. This is an army that Jack's looking to buy, so you know, I don't have to put a lot of work into it. Heyo! That one's done. That one's empty. I tell you what, man, these bits are awesome. Actually, we're going to hop right into doing the other 10 because I think that they are easy enough to do on a stream, and I am going to do 10 with swords. As Kevin Costner would say, swords. You guys ever watch the old Robin Hood movie with Kevin Costner? Let's see. That's a deep cut. That's my age right there. Okay. One model in this unit can be the Mortek Hekatos. Okay, so it's not 1 per 10. That's good. So we're not going to build the Hekatos in this one. But we can still do the banner, I think. Actually, I don't know why I was just thinking. This is all the stuff you should have probably read before you just start cutting model bits out. We do not discuss Costner. I don't know what you're talking about, man. Waterworld, amazing. Let's see. 1 every 10 models. Okay, cool. So I'll build the banner guy. Let's see. Omniphage, what do you have against Kevin Costner? He's the hero of our generation. He's a national treasure. Let's see. Lore Master, can you show me the Gothizzar Harvester? Yeah, give me 1 sec here, brother. Lore Master, they were up on the Azir app. Oh, I didn't know that. That's cool. I didn't know all of these guys went up. I thought it was just some of them. Gothizzar Harvester. He is 6-inch move, 10 wounds. Okay, he's a little beefier. I thought it was 8 points for some reason. Haven't looked at his war scroll. Got a ranged attack, That is between 6 and 2, depending on his health. Like 6 attacks, 2 attacks. No, that's the range. I'm sorry. 16-inch range between 4-inch range. So it's a sliding scale downward. Pretty good shot. And he's got a bunch of melee attacks. How many wounds suffered? Okay, he has a few different weapon loadouts. Both of them degrade. That's all right. Bone Harvest. Roll a dice each time this model is slain within 3 inches. Roll a dice each time a model is slain within 3 inches of this model. On a 4-up, you can pick one from the Bonereapers unit within 6 inches. If you do so, the slain model had a wound characteristic of 4 or less. You can heal 1 wound allocated to it. Okay, basically, he can restore models near him. Sorry, it's very wordy, but it's basically just saying if it's a big hero, you can give him D3 wounds. If it's a unit, you can top them off to however many wounds what your bird just killed was. Exploding 6s, so if you get a 6, it makes 2. It inflicts 2 mortal wounds on the target, and the attack sequence ends. And that's for the Soul-crusher bludgeons. Old Witch Doctor, nope. Tithe boys are all by their own. They're lonesome. So, he's cool. How many points is he? Because he's kind of just like a little side assault piece. Gothizzar Harvester. He is a 200-point behemoth. That is a tough sell, in my opinion. I'm not going to lie. I'd much rather have 3 of the 4-armed sword guys, but he's cool. What's the battalion that includes him? Crawlers, Harbingers. Here's a Harvester battalion. Okay. Each Mortis Infant's battalion can attempt to cast 1 extra spell. That's weird. So this is a weird battalion. So your big Harvester guy, if he's in combat with somebody, these guys can all attempt to cast 1 extra spell, and it's 3 of the spell caster heroes. That's a weird one. I like the battalions from this book. The thing is they're all very exact, right? 1 unit of this, 2 units of this. There's no ranges. The shield core is the only one that gives you like options, but it's just on whatever the hero is. Okay, sorry, I answered my question. I just needed to know if I could build a second banner, and I can. Let's do bodies. Where's that body thing? Here's 1 and 2 right here. Okay. That's a nice book, Doug. Thank you. Wrote it myself. Let's see. I was to see a lore video between you and 2+ Stuff. Also, what is the best faction in Total War Warhammer 2? I don't know, understand what your question was about having a lore video between the 2 of us. But, yeah, what is the best faction? Let's put him on the spot. Lore Master, best faction. And then this is a thesis, so you got to defend it. And why is it Beastman? Oh, a lore off. Haha, gotcha. Well, when it comes to AOS, I have a 3-year head start. When it comes to fantasy battles, he's got like an 8-year head start. I don't know how long he's been doing this. Like an even nerdier rap battle. 12. I don't know what that band is, but it's just it's a free playlist that Google puts up just for music from the background of videos. Let's see. What is Lore Master Sotek's specialty anyway? He does a lot of content regarding AOS, or not AOS, Games Workshop IP video games. Like, I really enjoyed watching his Total War Warhammer streams. He's a big deal in that community, the Total War competitive play. And then also, I was watching him play, oh my gosh, what's it called? Vermintide 2. They had a new expansion come out. But that one's a little more intense in terms of, like, there's not a lot of crowd interaction because it's very action all the time. He requires a bit more focus. I'm the king of Warhammer Fantasy, which nowadays are all video games. See, you've made a more confident statement in that, saying you're the king of fantasy, than I ever would. So now I want to see you and like Arch Warhammer go toe to toe with a nerd off. There you go. Just did on the Discord. Assuming he likes Lizardmen, given he is the lore master of Sotek. Nice. Let's see, 16, 17, here we go. He's like Arch, but less anti-Semitic. I'm not touching that, dude. Oh, that's funny. I don't know enough of Arch's politics. I tune out at that point. I think AOS would do well in a Total War game. Big, but we'd either need GW to release an actual detailed map of the realms. Yeah, or at least a section of it. Let's see. We're gonna move off of Arch. Topic wise, sorry friends. Them Bonereapers. No, I'm not. I just don't. I try not to badmouth other folks, unless it's my low key jab, my super subtle jab. That I did earlier, tend to not talk about other YouTubers, but Twitter darlings, we can destroy them all day, and Twitch people, pff, I say knowing that Lore Master Sotek is on Twitch quite a bit. I have a campaign going for Warhammer Fantasy 4th edition right now. That's awesome. 48, 29. I was a missed third. Was up to other knots. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know. I'm trying to think. Yeah, I didn't. So I had some Warhammer models from forever ago, but I didn't jump into it hardcore until right about 8 months before the end times. Lenore, it's fine. We've been having your own sister's conversation for a while. Yeah, go for it. I love when the chat's alive with chatter. It's all good. I'm seeing two reactions to Mawtribes. BCR players are salty, Gutbuster players are living it up. What do you think of the situation? I think that is accurate. You know, and I think the reason for that is because to be able to play effectively, I think a lot of the lists that BCR players were making were very gimmicky. Like, we're going to focus on the snowball. We're going to focus on the three, dudes who buff each other and heal each other up, that kind of thing. So we're very focused on a very specific thing because they had to be, and that makes perfect sense. But now it's not like with War Clans where it's like, you know, now there's 3 distinct armies in this book. There's Ironjaws, there's Bone Splitters, and the Big Waw, all with their own allegiance abilities, everything. Like it's 3 distinct armies. But it's not like that. Now they are half of a whole, if you will, where all of a sudden, you know, do I think it's a bad army? Not at all. I think there's a lot of fun builds in there. But I do think the best builds and the ones that are going to do well and be flavorful and that kind of stuff are the ones that are going to include both Beastclaw Raiders and what used to be Gutbusters. And I think that transition of the people who already had a Beastclaw army are looking at that going like, they just made all our stuff worse. And you know what? If you take Beastclaw Raiders in a vacuum, you're probably not wrong. But if you broaden it out to be, you know, what now I have a whole new set of tools available, which yes does mean you need to buy new models, and people never like that. But when you broaden it out a little bit, I do think that everyone in that book walked away better on the whole. It's just a matter of, I don't know. I think it's a great book. I'll be honest. Like I was very frustrated when I hopped online and the first thing I saw on Twitter was Rob Symes saying it was awful. I'm just like, no. I just think it requires being played differently. Kind of like, well, I mean, this is an old example that might not be relevant, but I mean, it was back when, because Khorne Bloodbound used to be a separate and distinct army from Demons of Khorne. Demons of Khorne never had a battle tome, but all of a sudden people were like, oh, there's a whole new toolbox. Oh, there's whole demon stuff that I now want to get. Oh, there's summoning. Now I feel like I have to buy things. And it was the same kind of like awkward adjustment. And now we have people who just love playing Khorne stuff because Khorne's awesome and the army is a great mid-tier. It's great to learn with. It's great to play. It's a lot of fun, very characterful. I think it's the same thing. Jack, Reeling One's Jack, who is number 8 in ITC, which is far better than any other talking heads who are... actually, I'm going to do this. I'm going to stand on my pedestal. Here we go. I hate the fact that some of the people with the most negative opinions go 2 and 3 at a major event. That there are people who look at a book before it's out and say, this is hot garbage, and they don't have the background to back it up, to be like, I know what it takes to win at this event, and I've done it. So we have here Mr. Rerolling One's Jack, who is number 8 in ITC, maybe 9. I think he said someone bumped him off just a little bit, but in the top 10 for Age of Sigmar, period. Telling you, they're not top tier. They're not going to rock the meta, and everyone has to adjust to them, but they're fun, and they're better than they were yesterday as a whole. That means a lot to me. And I love that Jack is not one of those people, quite frankly. Yeah. I think it's going to be a great book that offers a lot of fun. And I think it rewards people who have really, really loved their ogre army this entire time, who stood with it when it was broken apart, who love it now that it's back together. There's just a lot of cool stuff going on. So yeah, that is my, let's see, Lore Master, so Deck, Real One's Jack, any tips on Nighthaunt, sorry. Everything bumped around because there was a comment that came in. Let's see. Oh, the Gutbusters Battle Tome, good luck with that. I'm not sure what you mean good luck with that, but right on. I think it's a fun book. You know what it is? Here's how I know that Mawtribes is a good book, right? My buddy Brent over on Ruling Ones, one of my favorite humans, okay? struggles to get a fully painted army, and part of it is his like painter's block and getting interested in different factions. But at one point, he did have a award-winning, fully painted army, and that army was ogres back in the day in fantasy battles, and he did it because it specifically because it was a low model count. You can put a lot of time and an effort and just finish this one guy, but that one guy represents, you know, 1/30th of an army or something like that. It's huge. And to have someone that I care about be like, I'm excited about this and I want to do it and make it happen. He took it home. He's building them right now. That's awesome. Like that's a win. Probably a pretty fine book, but I was hoping Gulping Bite would have a tiny additional gimmick. That's fair. You know, it's fine to be like, I wish I had something more, but doesn't mean it's bad. I'm not talking about the people who are like, oh, this isn't what I was expecting. That's fine. I'm talking about people who are already saying that it's awful. We should not like it. Hashtag Banslanish. Well, Master, I'm also currently in Purgatory waiting for my Seraphon 2nd edition. Agreed. And that's one where I genuinely feel for you. Genuinely, because the book's just such a weird place. It's hard to explain to new folks. Like, I had some folks be like, hey, is this a good army? And they're holding up the Seraphon Stark Lightning box. And I was like, they're cool, like, aesthetically, that kind of stuff. It's like, but, you know, in the interest of being honest, like, they're one of the older books. The game has evolved around them, that kind of thing. So that makes it a little rough. I don't know what it is. My cat, whenever I close the door to do a live stream, freaks the heck out. And it's like, I need to be in with you. Let's see. I think some people were expecting a Bone Splitters level of overhaul, but Ogre War Scrolls were never that bad. I completely agree. And I don't know enough like about their old War Scrolls. Like, I mean, I knew they were tanky. I got my butt kicked by some Gutbusters at one point at my local game group. But, I don't know. I could see that. I could see that based on what you're thinking. Is the FBI coming for Doug again? Yes. Yes, they sent their representative, my fat house cat. He's their best man. Double stuff. By the way, do you play any of the side games? AOS Warcry, Underworlds, Silver Tower. I do play Warcry. I like that one quite a bit. Haven't had a game in lately, but that's my choice. It's not like no one around here isn't playing it. They're playing it up in my local area. Really, really enjoy that one quite a bit, actually. Underworlds, I was dipping my toe into it right before Warcry came out, and the warband level stuff, skirmish game, Warcry scratches that itch better, so I actually sold off my Underworld stuff to clear up room and funds. I like the game. It's just it's one of those things that, like, I wanted a easy breezy game to like pick up every once in a while, and the way that the card releases and all that kind of stuff, I just couldn't keep up, and so I was just like, pass. But I think it's a good game. Like, I enjoy the actual game of Underworlds. What else? Other ones. What are the other ones? I think those are the big ones for sure. Let's see. Cold Shoulder. My friend who has been playing Ogres since Fantasy was hoping for a Gloomspite level reboot with new plastic sculpts. Yeah. Yeah, I can see that. It's 400 for 12, right? Yeah, I think so. Of the Ogre dudes. I think so. At this point, just keeping up with Underworlds to scratch my need a little bit of everything itch. That's fair. It's a great game for that, honestly. And yeah, if you just kind of want to paint a little bit of everything, and honestly, when I hit my painting block right before Nova, like, it was really nice to have a bunch of warbands just sitting around. I could just crank through, because it was just like, I just want to paint, but I don't want to do a project. I want to get that thrill of completion, but not, you know, do anything too crazy. It was really good. Okay, this went very boy bandy. And that's not acceptable. Okay, here. Hey, I'm here and new to Warhammer. You're the first YouTuber I found. Nice to know you do streams. Oh, well, that's awesome. Welcome, welcome to the hobby. You will find this channel to be a place of unbridled positivity. And I'm not saying that sarcastically. Sometimes I sound sarcastic when I'm not meaning to. But yes. Awesome community. If you have any questions, always ask in comments of videos. I try to respond as much as possible. Let's see. No boys here, only men. Let's do... So I need a banner, bro. I'm going to finish this one guy, and I'm going to hop off for the night. But in the meantime, if anyone has any last bit of questions for me, go ahead and ask him in the chat. Duck is a very wholesome word. Yes, I try very hard. Wholesome is what I strive for. That's the goal. Let's see. So we got that. We got the arm that holds it. Let's do the other banner topper thing. So what did I do for that one? Here it is. Question: what is the best question on AOS you've ever been asked? Best question. Best question. You know, honestly, I don't know if I think it wasn't so much a question, but it was when I had to explain to TSA what Warhammer was, because they opened up my bag on the way to Nova. I think that was my favorite. But that was certainly my best, you know, discussion of AOS. Question: what is the best army to start AOS with from ease of construction, painting, and price standpoint? Generally, it is going to be Stormcast Eternals. They have access to just about every single thing in the game. They are jack of all trades, master of none type thing. Their models, one of their highlights, if you find you don't like them, that's fine, because their highlights is they're pretty easy to find everywhere online for fairly cheap, because they come in most of the starter sets. One thing that I will add to that, however, is if you're looking to start playing and you don't know like what army to choose, whatever, Ironjawz, or the Orc Warclans Battle Tome, is super good for new players, because it's not a ton of stuff to memorize. It's not a complicated book. The stat lines are good. They're, you know what I mean? Like they're just very easy on your brain, to put it one way. I think that's probably a really good starter army, and it's been that way for a while now, of just being in terms of ease of use. You know, you just have to learn a few war scrolls and you're all set. You can start playing. Yeah, that'd be my pick. Anyone else have a better pick than that? See you later, Hugh. In terms of, yeah, I'm trying to think of other good armies for new folks. That's definitely my picks. How often and when do you stream? I try to, so the only consistent stream I do is I always try to do one about 10:30 to 11 on Fridays to catch folks over in the EU. But everything else I kind of just, whenever I have time after work kind of thing, which is unfortunate, but this is kind of the reality with my job right now. But if I have my videos, the notes for my videos done with plenty of time in advance, I stream up to 2 or 3 times a week. Just always building and painting stuff. Okay. I don't have any bases for these guys, so I just kind of set him up so that he can actually like dry properly. Okay, well, got all the torsos for these guys done. I like it. They go together so well for a death army, and what I have here is the perfect unit that I want to have, and that's just awesome. So I dig it. I'm down. These guys, I'm not sure how much the archive will be used. They're really cool. I like them. So I'll try to like figure out what to do with those. Kenzie gives her obligatory Red Queen suggestion. People would go read a book called Red Queen. Not officially endorsed by Cheapo Stuff because I haven't read it yet, but you get around to it. Anyway, friends, I'm gonna go ahead and hop off and have dinner with my wife. I'll see you all later. Have a wonderful night, and yeah. Cold Shoulder. Any conversion ideas? No, I want to build them just the way they are. I like them. So anyway, you all have a wonderful night, and I will chat with you again very, very soon.